everybody out here on YouTube. It is Ivory Beautiful Beauty. Gonna be doing a product review here today. Also, this is per request from one of my beautiful subscribers, Snickers Bar. They have been wanting me to talk about the Ivory bars, and I've probably mentioned them like here and there in my videos, but I don't think over the years I've actually done a sit down and go to video about them. Now I know I have a product review, it's a little bit some months back, maybe even years back, on the Ivory liquid soap, but we're going to talk today about the bar of soap. Now I will say this, you guys know this, if you are at all familiar with my channel, like my 2,000 plus videos, been here a long time, or at least it feels like forever, but I've been loving it as well. I've talked about the longevity of brands. You guys know I like things like that have been around forever. I like VO5 shampoo, some of the Suave products, you know, a few of the Olay products are okay, some are not, but I like these brands that have like longevity, you know what I mean, that have been around forever, and this happens to be one of them. Those are the products that like, it's something about it, like I will trust a little more, I will go to them a little more, you know, if that makes sense, you know, just because they've been around forever. And if people have been using these products for like X amount of years, several hundred years, then, and the product's still around, you know, it kind of like says something, you know what I mean? Okay, Ivory bar soap, or Ivory Company. I don't know about the actual bar, but Ivory Company has been around since 1879, a darn hot minute and some, you know what I mean? So that is a few lifetimes rolled into one. So it's been around forever. And as far as I know, it is the only soap that floats. I know that. I've done a lot of brand and product research. You know, I did this for my master's degree a few years ago for my dissertation and my thesis. That is what I did. A lot of the marketing and the you know, the sloganism and the propaganda, and not only that, but also ingredients and science behind the companies and company, you know what I mean, brands this, brand that, you know what I mean, all that stuff. Now, I don't like recall and remember every single detail of my studies, because that's life, you know, million things happen in like the sense of just like 3 years, you know what I mean, or less. But anyhow, it's known as the soap that floats. I'm kind of getting off subject, but then again, I'm trying to retract it and pull it back around. And I'm going to pour some soap here in the cup, and let's see if it floats, because it's known today as still as the soap that floats. So when I pour this, my cat's probably going to come running, because he likes when I pour fresh water. And let's see, are you you're not floating, but yet you float in the bathtub. Okay, so that just proves something right there. I've never actually tried that. I've never tried to get it to float in just a small cup. Keep in mind, well, there it goes. It's kind of floating some. It was actually stuck. So you see that? But what I was going to say is, when I'm taking a shower or a bath with this product or whatever, it always floats, you know, in the bathtub. And it kind of spooked me for a couple seconds there, because I thought, how in the world can it not float in just a small cup, but yet it floats in my bathtub and showers? Okay, so anyhow, you can see it's kind of suspended there, it's floating. On to the product review here. I will say this is something that, now I don't reach for it year round, I don't use it year round. I will say, like, there's certain circumstances I will reach for this for, if that makes sense. Like this summer, I've been doing a lot of swimming, and that leaves a lot of chlorinated water and chlorine buildup on the skin. And sometimes I feel like I have to have like a good quality older soap that's been around forever to remove that chlorine. This is what I reach for, and I use this for. Also, we'll say, when I travel, I take this with me when I travel. It gives my skin that deep down cleaner feel, but it doesn't strip the moisture barrier level off my skin. It doesn't dry my skin out. Keep in mind, I have like slightly dry skin, you know, so it doesn't do that. It doesn't strip that moisture off. So when I travel, this is just one thing I always throw in my suitcase, because you know, I'm also a sexy little germaphobe that way as well, and I feel like for germs and things that this kind of gets me a a cleaner factor. Now, I don't know if there's scientific evidence behind that. That's just a personal feeling of mine. So, you know, when you travel, you're around germs. There's recirculated air on airplanes. You know, there's boat rides and crowded quarters and, you know, people being right literally on you. You know, I mean, I've been on submarine rides before, and we're just all crammed in there, and people are, you know, sweaty knee to knee and elbow to elbow and whatever, you know what I mean? So when I'm getting a little sick here, okay? Talk about germaphobe. That's not always the best example for, you know, germaphobe, but I have crazy bad sinus problems, and if I just inhale or literally breathe in the wrong bug, you know what I mean, I catch something. So, you know, it's a little paranoia too, as well as being a germaphobe. But when I travel, this is my absolute go-to. And I will also say this too, when I lived permanently in a, well, I still do off and on, you know, I live between states, right? And the states that I live in are several, you know, like thousands of miles away or apart from each other. So when I used to live more permanently in that tropical hot climate in that state, I always use this. Always. I was stocked, and I mean, I was like locked and loaded with Ivory soap, if that makes sense. I would have it stacked to the ceiling, like in my bathroom. I would have this big canister thing, and I would have it stacked to the ceiling because, you know, it's hot climate, it's sweaty, it's humid, it's, you know, it's sweaty, it's humid, it's humidity in the air, and it's hot and it's grimy kind of weather. And when I lived at a, you know, in a more permanent you know, a more permanency, I guess you might say, in that state, this is all I use, literally. I think every now and then I would use like Dial soap, but I was always use this, and I just kept it stacked to the ceiling. And, you know, hot, humid climate or environment, you know, I mean, yeah. And when I was living there year round, this was all I used. Okay, so for like sweat, you know, things like that. Also after working out, you guys know I work out a lot, I exercise a lot. This is definitely one I recommend after sweating and working out, because it gets me clean, but it doesn't strip my skin out. And I will say this too, I have used this, I've done like little experiments with this like over the years, you know, especially when I lived in a more permanent year round in a more hotter, humid state, a climate, right? And I would use this on my face. And I would use this for about 2 weeks at a time. Now, I would have to take breaks using this on the facial skin and the neck, le décolletage, the décolleté. I could use it for 2 weeks, but after 2 weeks, it did not become drying to my skin. It become like adjusted to my face, if that makes sense. And I would pop over and start using something else. So I would only recommend, if you're going to use this on your face, I did good using it on my face. You know, I didn't get dryness or moisture barrier, you know, level irritation or anything like that. But I just know that it's like something I got used to, like my face got used to it for whatever reason. So I will only recommend this for the facial skin for like 2 week intervals. After 2 weeks, I would definitely switch it up, change to something else, go back to your traditional facial cleanser, you know, facial wash or whatever, you know what I mean? But as far as like the body and the skin all over, year round, you're good. You could use this whenever. I love it. I do love it. Oh, the flavor of it. I will say it has a low-key fragrance to it. It doesn't overpower, it doesn't overwhelm, it doesn't overconsume me. And I have to definitely touch on this when I do product reviews. I'm not the only person that has a scent sensitivity issue. I do not know for whatever reason, but like medically, nobody could tell me what the issue is, why I am so darn sensitive to smells. It is very low key, so my sensitivity to smells, it doesn't impede those. It doesn't bother me, and I like that. It's a low key smell. I will say it has a little bit of a, to try to be as adjective oriented as I could possibly be and descriptive and describe the fragrance and the odor of it. It has like a lemony type of twist to it, a citrusy type of smell. It's a cross between like a low-key lemon and a low-key orangey citrus twist. So if you took a low-key citrus orange twist and you mixed it with a lemon fragrance, you would come out with what it smells like. And I like the fact that it doesn't really come in any fancy smancy packaging. It just comes in a just extremely a basic like paper type of shrink wrap almost, if you will. And you could barely even see the word Ivory on there. You know what I mean? It's nothing fancy. It's nothing smancy. Once again, like I said, the company has been around since 1879. I don't know if it was owned by Procter & Gamble back in the day or not, because like I said, it's been a hot minute since I've done the technical research of the, you know, companies and brands. I do know I'm going to throw this information out here, 100% truth or honest, as always on my channel. 7 years strong of telling the truth because of you beauties out here. I will say that, you know, like I said, they are owned by Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble does laboratory animal testing on animals. Throw this information out there. It is a darn shame that they are not cruelty-free, and especially because a product has been around several billions of years, you know, a few hundreds of years here, you know what I mean? And you would think that there would be no more animal cruelty and there would be no laboratory animal testing. But anyhow, the world's not perfect, you guys. It is what it is. I have zero control over all that. And yeah, you know what I mean? I wish the world was more perfect than it is. But it's not. So with that having been said, that's just in a nutshell the information and the truth. So yeah. And it's and the bars are not very big. I will say that they're kind of, compared to other bars, they're kind of small, but I will say this, they last literally forever. I don't know the exact ounces on these, but they're kind of a smaller bar in comparison to, you know, some of your leading brand bar soaps out here on the market. They're kind of smaller, but I will say they last forever. Literally, they last forever. And especially when I use them year round and I lived in a very humid, hot climate, a hot state. And I just remember that. I was like, I stocked up on these because I was so kind of, you know, scared of running out of these, so to speak. But yet, keep in mind, they do last a long time. They last forever. And I mean, look at this bar over here. It's not all that gooey. You know what I mean? I should have put it in a bigger cup or a bigger glass, but, you know, I'm kind of making this video on the fly. Like I said, I definitely had one of my beautiful subbies out here, Snickers bar, that was interested in knowing about this bar soap. And I always want to stay, you know, as loyal as I possibly can, unlike other YouTubers. I mean, you know, not naming names or talking bad about other YouTubers out here, but like in the grand scheme of things, in whole, on the general, there's a lot of YouTubers out here that I personally have been watching for a long time, just X amount of years, that I am terribly disappointed in, disillusioned with, and couldn't care less if I no longer watch them. You know what I mean? So I try to keep that pace, and I've always kept that as the reason I started my channel. Like the entire methodology behind starting my channel and the whole vice behind it was truth, love, honesty, telling the truth, and keeping that level of honesty within the beauty community, you know. And it's sad and a shame that it has been swept away from YouTube with the sponsorships, with the over-promoted products, with the sketchy companies, with the, you know, payouts and the payments and the cash flow. And the unfortunate fact that all 90-something%, and it's definitely safe to say 90-something% of the YouTubers are chasing the greenbacks. They're chasing the money, the bucks, the dollars, whatever you want to call it. It's sad. But anyhow, I love you guys. I hope this answers all your questions, Snickers bar. I don't know if you're Snickers bar or you know what I mean? Are you Snicker bars? Okay. I should look. I see you commenting, and I thank you so much for your interaction and for your comments. I love you. I love all of you as well. I thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye, beauties.